Welcome back, everybody. We've just seen Kevin Dutz winning in a very, very tense match with Jose de Sousa. Arguably the biggest shock of the day here on board 2. Dutz will go through to round 2 tomorrow for the first time in this tournament in 3 attempts. And he will take on either Damon Hetter or Jules van Dongen. I think there may be a little bit of confusion as to who's got the darts here, and Krzysztof is adamant they are mine. Well, stick to your guns there, Krzysztof. Nothing wrong with that. He's up against Maik Kuivenhoven, who is in the first year of a new tour card. Regained that earlier this year. But is not in the World Championship. He missed out by a couple of spots in Players' Championship and European Tour action as part of the Pro Tour Order of Merit in 2023. So he will have to go to Barnsley on Monday to have a return to Ali Pali.
You know, Paul, 2 years ago, 2021, Krzysztof Ratajski reached 6 televised quarterfinals. 2 of them were converted into semi-finals. The last time that the Premier Pole won more than 1 match at a major TV tournament was this event last year. He hasn't been as far as the quarters in 2022 or 2023, and he's only won a maximum of 1 game at any event, including the World Championship, in the last 12 months.
But he is someone who continues to win. I just think he's a great pro. And when you consider where he was at the start of this year, people were starting to say somewhat prematurely,
Krzysztof to throw first.
because you mentioned that there have been mutterings of de Sousa on the slide. They were saying the same about Ratajski. About 11 months ago, they said he's not as good as he was before. Maybe he won't win again. What has he done this year?
93.
He's won on the floor. He's had some great results. Great runs on the floor as well. And he's the German Open champion. So he's responded very, very well.
58.
And we no longer talk about him as a potential major champion in the PDC. I think he'd be very happy as the Polish Eagle, flying very, very
81.
much under the radar.
Well, it remains to be seen how this darting weekend pans out for the Pole, who,
58.
if he wins this match, would play the winner of our next match, Brendan Dolan against Richie Edhouse. Section of the draw that looks winnable for Ratajski.
Yeah, very much so.
99.
And we are focusing on this section of the draw here at the start of Friday night, because Krzysztof or Maik play Dolan or Edhouse, who play next. And we've already seen
43.
Dutz and de Sousa, and they're all in the same little cluster.
Yeah, if you missed it, Kevin Dutz won that match 6-5. Dramatic end to the game, with both players having matched darts. And on the main
100.
stage, Matt Campbell beat Dylan Slevin 6-5 as well. So we are getting
80.
fights
Krzysztof
to the end
128.
on Friday night.
Ratajski will come into this one as a huge favourite, not just because of form, but because he just knows how to beat Maik Kuivenhoven.
87.
That's worked out pretty well. That could have been a lot worse. And now he's got a number where he can leave the double 16 that he always leaves. The day that he goes 1 tops is the day that the moon is purple.
Double 16. Becomes double 8.
Game shot on the first leg.
Yeah, very nicely
Krzysztof
done.
Ratajski.
Just
Second leg
completely
is Maik
unfazed by the
through first.
maximum that Kuivenhoven hits. And now he wants to swap that visit for this visit.
I know that when Krzysztof won the World Masters
74.
in 2017, it was a big year for Poland. But I think 2023 has been a bigger year for Polish darts than any other, because you've got 2 Polish winners on tour.
100.
You've got a huge World Series event in Poland as well, which sold out in the amount of time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. I just think that Poland has
85.
stood up this year because they love the darts.
Well, this man has been the tungsten trailblazer the Polish players, that is for sure. There were a few that have followed. You mentioned
85.
Zagansky's win. We saw him in action this afternoon. The likes of Sebastian Białecki. Titus Karnik, of course. That Polish pair that had that incredible
40.
World Cup performance.
Yeah, Krzysztof Kachuk is not in the field.
Yeah.
But he was part of that world record pairs average at the World Cup, and he should not be forgotten. He was very much
59.
part of that. Kuivenhoven's got to get something going here. And the reason he's not in the World Championship is very easy to figure out. If he's in this
100.
tournament, but he's not in the Worlds, it means that his European Tour form has been non-existent. Whereas Ratajski's goals throughout the year, I think they've changed somewhat throughout the season. He wanted to get a win, check that. He'd like to get a second European Tour victory, check that.
Krzysztof, you require
Getting both of them
160.
puts him in a very strong seeding position potentially for 2024, where he could get more success. And it's tops for a 160.
140.
That's why he doesn't like tops.
Yeah,
Maik,
flying
you
under the
require
radar, but
102.
flying way under tops there. 102. And now he wants tops.
62. Krzysztof, you require 20.
It's the same height as double eight. And it's the
Game
same
shot
result.
Second leg. Krzysztof Ratajski.
There is a risk in this game that Ratajski could easily fly
Third leg
through
is
it.
Krzysztof to throw
He is
first.
not even breaking a
Game
sweat
on.
right now.
You mentioned that Euro Tour form of Kuivenhoven, and the stats back it up. He's only qualified for 2 events. The European Darts Open, where he lost to Chris Dobey, who's just taking to the main
59.
stage here in Minehead right now against Raymond van Barneveld. And he also played in Austria, won a match actually, beat Bradley Brooks, but that was his only victory before defeat to Rob Cross.
100.
Yeah, that was a game against Brooks that he shouldn't have won as well, because Brooks had that in the palm of his hand and just let it slip.
And all the while on the Euro
40.
Tour, Ratajski was revving up for a victory. Got that success in Jena.
And hit a 9-darter at his practice darts.
Yeah, and he beat Stephen
57.
Bunting in the final. Look how well Bunting's done since then.
Yeah, we've been lauding Bunting all year for his improvement and what he's doing with his new darts, but the person who beat him in Jena, we're not lauding him as
59.
much. Why?
Well, let's lavish purple pros upon the pole now, shall we? Really has been an incredible player. He's a man who forced himself into the upper echelons of PDC darts. Didn't have to get his tour card from Q School, just started winning pro tours, didn't he? Great visit from Kuivenhoven there.
He actually has a rule in PDC darts named after him as well.
140.
It's called the Ratajski
Maik,
rule.
you require
That if you're a non-tour
164.
card holder and you win a Players' Championship event, you actually vault yourself to the top of the substitute rankings,
64.
going ahead of the top person in the Challenge Tour Order of Merit. Imagine that. You've done something so revolutionary that you have a rule named after you. It's like the
100.
the
Maik, you
Bosman rule.
require 100.
Well, he's ruling the roost at the moment. Kuivenhoven out to try and stop him. Options here. It looks like he might be going for treble rather than tops.
Game shot.
And that's
third
why he
leg.
backed himself to hit the
Maik
smaller
Kuivenhoven.
target and then found the double.
He's a pretty unflappable individual, as Mike. Doesn't give a great
Fourth
deal
leg
away.
is Maik to throw first.
But he
Game
was
on.
part of one of the funniest photographs of the year on the floor. And it was maybe the shortest handshake of the year with Callan Rids in a game that he won and Rids, well,
100.
effectively lost it, didn't he? He lost the game and he lost his mind.
Yeah, remember it well.
And Callan did take to social media within
59.
about 12 hours and did apologise for the old wet lettuce handshake, but Mike just saw the funny side of it. And that's just how he's built. He doesn't get flustered, he doesn't get angry, he just gets on with things.
125.
Did have a spell, didn't he, Maik Kuivenhoven, where he had a few wins against a certain Michael van Gerwen.
Oh yeah.
59.
He's also made the quarterfinals of the European Tour event as well. He's not just somebody who turns up and thinks he can make up the numbers. He has got talent. He's got levels.
77.
But we don't see them enough.
Yeah, won his first 2 meetings against van Gerwen. Has lost the previous 2, but they're both 6-4.
It's amazing how we judge people on their record against great players. Just don't judge me on my record with Raymond van Barneveld, by the way. He's about to take the stage to play Chris Dobie. But you're right, seems to be comfortable playing against Van Gerwen. But he hasn't got to worry about
39.
Michael tonight. He's got to worry about Krzysztof, who seems to have slowed down in the scoring stakes in the last couple of legs.
Yeah, it was almost too easy, wasn't it, for the first 2 legs? And now Kuivenhoven has kind of managed to lull Ratajski into a false sense of security. Took out a ton in the previous leg, wants to add 60 to that. Add 60 to that to leave himself on tops.
120.
Somebody's going to get a 160 in this match by the end of possibly another few legs.
121.
I've got to worry about that now.
40.
Kuivenhoven to take us level after 4. Ouch.
Oh, yeah, that hurts, and it will hurt even more.
8.
As Krzysztof Ratajski is getting a good heap of salt in his hand here, ready to rub it into that wound. Treble 18, wayward one.
Just for a second, on his view, he might have thought that was just in. That's why the referee's there, just to confirm.
74.
The referee's there to give you assurance,
32.
to tell you what you've got left, to tell you what you've scored. They can't tell you how to get it, but they can be a comfort blanket on the stage, and you use them if you need them. How does he hit this?
16.
It was a very tricky shot.
Yeah, he doesn't hit it is the answer, but you can see why. Double 16 for Ratajski. Now that's a good marker for him. Probably can't tell it from that angle, but he could have stacked it on top of that.
16.
Bit of dodgy doubling going on at the moment.
requires 16.
In the book of Ratajski and shots at double 16, there will be
Game shot
Plan Z. They were bad efforts from
Krzysztof.
Krzysztof.
To throw first.
He's paid the price. He should be 3-1 up.
All square. Ratajski won the first 2 legs at a canter,
100.
but Kuivenhoven has come back.
Where does Polish darts go when Ratajski eventually hangs them up? Are we pinning all of our hopes on Białecki maybe turning into the player that we all hope he will be?
I think he could be a great player, yeah. There are a couple of players I've got on my list, having predicted Luke Humphrey's success, just putting that out there, Paul. Next in line for me, Jan van Veen, Luke Littler. But I think Białecki could be a top 32 player at least.
You have gone big with the 2 World Youth finalists here this year. Quite obvious.
Littler, I think, is in everyone's lips, but Van Veen, I must admit, that prediction was made long before then. It was made when I first actually saw him playing darts, and he still had dartitis at the time. And what I found really impressive about him was that he was struggling and he was still hitting everything he was going for. I was thinking, how good will he be when he actually does shake it off, which he's managed to do. And he managed to more than shake off Chris Landman this afternoon with a 6-1 success.
Kuivenhoven had the right idea of going for the bullseye with the last dart, but not hitting the 25 means that he is still outside finishing range. 138 would be lovely right here. That's exactly what he gets. He's got Ratajski on the rack here.
104.
Right. Ratajski doesn't want to be on the rack.
He wants to rack up a finish, but he can't do it. And this is a total
56.
turnaround. Ratajski's seemingly drifted off in this game. And Kuivenhoven has woken up. Double 10 will give Krzysztof cause to be alarmed.
Game
Yes,
shot
it's
on the
found.
fifth leg. Maik
The Dutchman has got his nose in front from 2-0 behind to 3-2 up.
This is the
Sixth leg,
benefit
it's Maik to
of
throw
being the
first.
kind of
Game
player
on.
that Maik is. Wasn't flustered when he was 2-0 down, and he didn't play well the first couple of legs. He's had a bit of luck. He's used it brilliantly.
100.
Now he's firmly in the driving seat.
Should mention actually, we were just talking about the World Youth Finalists. That final is going to happen here in Minehead on Sunday. Viewers on ITV or wherever you're watching around the world will be able to see that, and that is, for me,
135.
it might rival some of the quarterfinals. Really want to watch that game.
I think it's probably the best World Youth final we've had on paper going into a final, and that's comparing it to the likes of Monk versus Van Gerwen. You've had Berry Van Peer versus Cadby. You've had all sorts of different finals, and my word, it should be special.
58.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. But plenty of darts to look forward to for the rest of the night. This is only the second game of our
100.
possible 9 on stage 2.
This could be huge.
180.
So good. And you don't get much emotion from Kuivenhoven, but he couldn't help fist pumping that 180. Is there a response from Ratajski? There isn't. He's going to the well and it's dry.
Maik, you required 28.
So, double 14 becomes double 7. Can he use that? Can he bounce it in?
Game
he
shot
can.
on the sixth leg. Maik Kuivenhoven, seventh leg. It's Krzysztof to throw first.
4-2 from 2-0 behind.
I didn't envisage this at all at 2-0 to Ratajski.
And let's not forget the head-to-head record between
97.
these two players is Krzysztof Ratajski 4, Maik Kuivenhoven 0.
That may be changing. And it throws this section of the draw, if he wins,
100.
into complete meltdown. Because you'd have Dutz, Kuivenhoven, Dolan or Edhouse, and the only massive hitter left in that section would be Damon Hedder. And he's still got to beat Jules van Dongen.
$57.
I do beg your pardon. I thought they were playing tonight. They played this afternoon.
100.
Just so happens that Damon Hedder has taken care of Jules van Dongen.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. You could have missed it, to be fair. 6-1. Dobie 2-1 up against Raymond van Barneveld on main stage in Minehead. Brendan Dolan, Richie Edhouse follow this on stage 2. Michael Smith 96. Is on the main stage against Richard Veenstra in around 20 minutes, half an hour.
In this position in the previous leg, Kuivenhoven hit a max from 208 to leave double 14. He's hit a 140 to leave the 2-darter. He's putting so much pressure on these shots for Ratajski. He couldn't take 1-2-1 in the previous leg. Can he get 108 somehow? 51's a shot, but he's got a magical 57.
Oh, do you know what? I was thinking the same, Paul. He's blocked that treble. 51 was the shot. But somehow he's managed to produce a Houdini dart into that treble 19, and then he pins a double with a plomb.
140.
And everything that you were saying about why Maik Kuivenhoven's attitude and approach enabled him to get back in the game, well, that was Krzysztof Ratajski personified, wasn't it, that checkout?
Wasn't it just? And double 16 has not been a friend to him in this game at all. He's had some shots at it, and he has not been anywhere near it.
So typical of the steely pole.
Got a nice ring to it.
And that's got a nice lie to it, but he can't use it.
59.
It makes it even more remarkable, that dart. It was above the bed, and his darts above the bed really aren't helpful. Can't believe he found it. He was probably looking, and I'm not exaggerating here, at best, a quarter of treble 19.
But because of the way he counts and all of the routes that are embedded and his darts thinking, at no time was he thinking 51-38. He just doesn't do that.
Here we go.
124.
Sensible stuff. Not getting enticed by the prospect of a big bullseye finish.
And sometimes we can say that somebody is being too sensible, but I am fully behind that from Kuivenhoven. Captain Sensible should now be 5-3 up.
Doesn't want to end up on double 5 here. And that is just a ticket. And is it a ticket to round 2? And is it another major misery for Krzysztof Ratajski, who has not won more than one match in a major in 12 months. He might not even win one match at this major.
I won't lie to you, Murph. I looked at this fixture and I thought, Ratajski, 99 times out of 100.
134.
So far, not so good for Krzysztof, who has to find a break through at some point, and 2 holes.
97.
Long way to come, isn't it? To Minehead from Poland. It's a big schlep.
Well, it's always longer on the way back when your
100
pockets aren't weighing as heavy as you'd hoped.
Like we said earlier this afternoon, these first round matches are worth £3,500. 3,000 guaranteed, 6.5 for the next round. It's a more than double your money game. These are the kind of games that some of these players have not got a great deal of experience of this season. They've been scrapping in first, second and third rounds. These are big matches.
No need to go for the bull.
97.
Oh, Krzysztof, your favourite double? Is it going to be friend of 4 this time?
Game shot on the
Friend.
play. Krzysztof Ratajski.
Yeah, found it in the end.
10th leg, it's Maik to throw first. Game on.
But this is the leg for Maik Kuivenhoven. He has the darts to defeat Krzysztof Ratajski. And what a start he's made with them.
How good was his rhythm there? And that's what you need under pressure. Just when you need a maximum or a big score like that, when you're about to serve a contest out.
59.
Or that you've got the possibility of doing it. Kuivenhoven relies on that rhythm, which very rarely lets him down.
And did you sense the anger in the retrieval of the darts from Ratajski?
Absolutely. You could hear it.
Usually, poker-faced pole, as serene as they come, doesn't give anything away.
But he doesn't like to lose. None of these players do. But Ratajski went to sleep at 2-0 up. And Kuivenhoven has taken full advantage of that.
57.
Closing in on a first win against this opponent, and a big win, a first win at the Players' Championship Finals for Maik Kuivenhoven. This would be a big moment for him.
98.
Remember, he's heading to that World Championship qualifier on Monday. But he might not be heading there tonight.
Some people would have said that staying on the 60 there was the right play. But it has really worked out well. Getting 4 18s on top of that 60 means he's got a guaranteed shot at 32 to beat Krzysztof Ratajski for the first time, to double his ranking money in this tournament.
100.
And who knows what could happen if he hits this, and from here on in.
Game, shot, and the match. Maik Kuivenhoven.
It is Magic Mike. Fantastic victory for him against Krzysztof Ratajski, whose major misery continues. He just cannot get a break in the big TV tournaments. And after a very strong start to the game. Ratajski just drifted off, drifted out of the match, and this man, Maik Kuivenhoven, capitalised to full effect. He defeats Krzysztof Ratajski by 6 legs to 4 and goes through to the second round. First round action to follow here. Brendan Dolan against Richie Edhouse next.